If you're craving more peace, but your mind feels busy and your body feels tight, you're in the right place. Maybe you love Jesus, but you're not sure how to actually slow down enough to be with him. Or maybe you're walking through a hard season, stress, anxiety, grief, overwhelm, and you just want something simple you can do right now that helps you breathe again. In this podcast, you'll find short, practical, faith-based practices like meditation, breath prayer, gentle movement, and rest. They'll help you calm your nervous system and come back to God's presence. So if you can carve out a few minutes, let's settle into a better frame of mind together. Do you ever long for a quiet moment to just breathe, reconnect with God, and rest in His presence? I'm Lori, and this podcast offers simple faith-based practices of prayer, meditation, and gentle movement to calm and renew your mind, refresh your spirit, and strengthen your faith. I invite you to take a slow, deep breath, and let's begin. Before we dive in, I want to invite you into my free community. I have a Facebook group for women just like you, Christian women who want more peace and more of God's presence in everyday life. I share scriptures, prayers, short practices, playlists, and encouragement. It's really a sweet place to feel supported. You can join us at bit.ly/firmlyplantedwellness. The link is in the show notes. Hi friend, I'm Lori, and I'm so glad you're here. I discovered breathwork, meditation, and yoga during a difficult period of life. One of those seasons where you're functioning on the outside, but inside you feel heavy. I remember being on my mat, honestly more surrendered than spiritual, just praying the kind of prayer that sounds like, God, I need you. And in that season, God met me there. Not because I had the perfect routine or the right words, but because I showed up. And over time, something started to shift. Through biblical spirituality, deep breathing, and gentle movement, God drew me out of grief and depression and back into a life of joy, slowly, steadily, and in a way that felt safe. And what surprised me most was this. I didn't just feel better in my mind, I felt better in my body. It was like my body had been holding on to things my heart didn't even have language for. That's when praying in motion became more than a phrase for me. It became a way of living. And now sharing it with others is truly my passion because I've watched it help so many others. Today is a simple What This Podcast Is episode. I want to give you a clear picture of what you can expect. First of all, this podcast helps you experience God, not just learn about Him. This is a podcast of guided practices, not long lectures. Think a place to exhale, recenter, and reconnect with God. Because so many of us love God but still live with a racing mind, tight shoulders, shallow breathing, and constant pressure. And when your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight, it's hard to feel present, hard to pray, hard to rest, hard to hear His voice. Each episode will guide you through something simple: a breath prayer, a short meditation, a walking practice, a gentle stretch, or a restorative wind down, often with scripture woven in. You'll be able to do it on a walk, on your mat, in a chair, or lying down. Second, we'll work with the issues in your tissues in a Christ-centered way. We're going to pay attention to what your body is carrying: stress, tension, grief, fatigue, and gently release it. We hold more in our bodies than we realize. Sometimes you don't need more willpower, you need regulation. You need safety, and you need a place to soften. You'll hear about practices like nervous system calming breath, simple, not complicated, guided body scans and faith-based yoga nidra, slow, gentle movement to release tension, scripture reflection, sometimes Lectio Divina style, slow and repeatable, and prayers that you can actually pray when you're overwhelmed. Everything is offered with options, no pressure, no perfect performance. And finally, this is trauma-sensitive, beginner-friendly, and made for real life. These practices are gentle, supportive, and adaptable, especially if you're dealing with pain, stress, limited mobility, or emotional overwhelm. Healing doesn't happen when you force your body. Healing happens when you feel safe enough to listen. And a lot of women have tried fitness plans that left them feeling behind, ashamed, or too stiff, too old, too tired, like they didn't belong. I'll cue everything with lots of choice. Chair or mat options. You can skip this language. Slower pacing, encouragement to rest, and reminders that God is not grading your practice. A little about my background so you know who's guiding you. I received my 200 and 500 hour training through Yoga Faith, and I've also trained in recovery yoga, meditation, yoga nidra, pranayama, restorative and yin yoga, adaptive yoga, trauma-sensitive yoga, and fascia release. I'm currently pursuing yoga therapy certification. But more than credentials, what matters most is this. I want to help you meet God in a way that feels grounded, gentle, and real. So here's what you can expect from this podcast. Short, practical, faith-based meditation and movement, breath prayer, scripture reflection, and nervous system calming tools, gentle practices for real women with real lives, a Christ-centered space to find peace, rest, and renewal. If you're new here, the best next step is simple. Follow the show. And then pick an episode that matches what you need. Better sleep, less anxiety, stress reduction, pain relief, or just a few minutes with God. And if you want community and extra support, come join my Facebook group at bit.ly/firmlyplantedwellness. The link is in the show notes. Thanks for joining me today. Hey friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take a few seconds and share this podcast with a friend who may also need some peace and a little time out with God? Also, if you love what you heard, please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It lights me up to know this podcast is helping you. Okay, time for me to take a deep breath and let God's peace settle in. I'll meet you back here in a few days for another episode. Blessings.